Hey guys, this is DeathbyRomy, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
I just got into you like recently when you dropped that collaboration with blackbear. Talk to me about your creative process. Like, who are you as an artist?
I'm definitely glad you heard my track with Bear. It was really fun to work with him. Generally, my process is just me and a producer, or me and a couple producers, but I'm very lyric based. I guess I'm a lyrics first person.
Right.
Constantly inspired by everything around me, what's going on in the world, what's going on in my head. And anytime I find something that I think is worth saying or something that someone would want to hear or relate to, I instantly write it down. And I feel like if you have really strong lyrics that kind of zing on their own, then everything else will come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you've been writing music for a long time, since you were like really young. So like, as you continue to write new tracks, new music, do you see like how much you like your writing process kind of grows?
Yeah, I've definitely become a better writer since when I started. I started when I was like 5. There'd be like 30-second songs probably, or just like a chorus or just a verse. And I've gotten much better at just following general song structure when I want to, or knowing when a song would sound better being more all over the place, or kind of schizophrenic songs is what me and one of my producers call it, because it's just, you never know when there's going to be a chorus or how long this one instrumental breakdown may be. It's just all over the place.
So when you kind of jump around all over the place like that, like does that, obviously it differs between tracks, but like does that do you kind of think about that like when you're already recording in the recording process, and like maybe we should jump to this kind of sound or this kind of style?
Sometimes. Sometimes more than other times. I think I'll have an idea that's very clear from the moment I start writing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be halfway through recording on a beat that's very undeveloped, like kind of a loop, and eventually I'll think like, wow, if it broke down right here and kind of like deconstructed and slowed down maybe, or deconstructed into something with much higher energy, then that could be really cool, because I love songs that kind of take you up and down all around.
Now, talk to me about like how different it is, because now you're on Capitol Records, so like, the possibilities when you are recording now are almost endless, like who you work with, where you work at. So, how different or how much impact did going from your bedroom to now like actual production studios, like how much did that impact like your creative process?
I think, I'm not gonna lie, I think there's pluses and minuses to both situations, just as there is with everything in life.
Right.
Being in your bedroom, I think there's less fear of whether you're wasting like producer's time or studio time or whatever, and sometimes that can be to a benefit of the creator or the writer. But sometimes the pressure really helps, I think. Like, I think I do best under pressure, and sometimes, say you're working with a really big name producer who you've only heard of and you've never met them before, going in with them, I feel like the pressure almost pushes me to really push myself and write something perhaps more different or just better than I would have if I was just kind of lazily writing in my bedroom.
So definitely, like they kind of help you get challenged a little bit more. But
I love a challenge.
yeah, well, in that sense though, like how do you kind of get used to working with someone like fresh for the very first time? Like you're so used to working by yourself, and then you step into the booth with someone else. Like, how do you open up to each other?
Well, luckily I've been in the studio almost every single day now, sometimes with a different producer every day. I know. And when it's the first time meeting someone, I guess it's nice to kind of break the ice before you go straight into the track.
Right.
It's nice to kind of vibe it out, kind of get a taste of this person's personality. And I've been really fortunate. Everyone I've gotten to work with so far is at least personable enough to where I don't feel awkward or like I shouldn't be talking in my own session. And yeah, breaking the ice is key. But after you've gotten past that point, I think working becomes really easy.
Right. Do you feel like there's this specific producer that you've kind of worked with so far that you feel is the one that challenges you the most, or has you try like really like off the wall things that you never even imagined?
See, when you, I have a favorite producer. I'm not gonna lie, and I guess one of the coolest things about our relationship is we kind of challenge each other.
Yeah.
I think we've both definitely pushed each other in terms of experimenting with different styles. And I would say he's definitely challenged me to experiment doing different things with my voice, perhaps, that I might not have thought of if it wasn't for the kind of crazy production he's thrown my way.
Right.
He goes by Dr. Rosen. I know him by Andy. But me and him have created a slew of all different styles tracks.
Yeah.
And he's probably who I'm most excited to be working with right now.
And he's the one that was a big part of this upcoming EP that drops on the 25th, correct? Talk to me about this creative process between the two of you on this EP, and like, how did you kind of change the game, I guess, for your music career?
Well, I think one of the coolest things about working with Andy, and one of the coolest things about this EP, is that I have a couple tracks which I believe fully encompass all of the genres I've always wanted to blend.
Yeah.
And I think in doing that, I've really found my sound, something completely unique to me that I have never heard before. Like the first time me and Andy ever got together to try and work on something, we created an incredible song with so much energy that grew to be the intro track of the project. Yeah. It's called I Feel Like a God. And it's crazy. He took all of my references and he just ran with it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that you opened up with that track. I feel like it's like the perfect track to open up that EP.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Because I did feel that.
I'm
like
glad you agree.
like it's funny because like there was one portion like towards the middle that like I don't know, I pictured like Marilyn for a second, like Marilyn Manson. Yeah, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Like,
thank you. I like Marilyn Manson a lot, actually.
Like an industrial kind of vibe, I guess. Like,
thank you. Yeah, there's a good mix of trap, industrial, rock, electronica. It's really fun. It kind of blends all my favorite things together.
Yeah. So when you guys are creating like these sounds that you have on your music, like, are these sounds like coming from, either like from the computer, are they coming from other musicians, or are you guys like getting together and kind of creating sounds like from scratch?
Actually, a combination of all such things. We use a lot of synths and drum kits online, as well as some live drums I've done recently. Often live guitar, almost always live guitar that Andy or other producers will play. And with Andy, we've actually created something he calls Romy bass, which is a bass sound we created with my voice.
That's cool.
And I don't know how he did it, but it sounds so sick.
That is
it
cool.
Sounds so
trademark right there.
Hell yeah.
So do you like perform these instruments as well? Like when you're in the studio, is that something that you feel comfortable doing, or is that something that you like eventually want to start doing with your music?
I actually have never really played any instruments, which I think is definitely something I want to get into, because I'm not going to lie, I feel a bit ashamed as an artist to have not delved into that yet. Though I don't think it limits me in the sense of my ability to create melody. I would love to be able to play guitar. I just think it would look so sick if like all of a sudden I could just whip out a really cool guitar solo.
You never know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I could do it. I'm sure Andy would help me.
Yeah. What track do you feel like was either the most like interesting to create on this EP or the most challenging, whichever you want to answer?
The most interesting and the most fun song to create was definitely Let Me Fall.
Okay.
Started with one reference, which I only really wanted him to pull from like the intro of this one song I love, and he did such a beautiful job creating the intro that when I heard it, I was already in love with the song. I hadn't even seen where it had gone yet, but I was like, oh my God, these strings sound incredible. And the second the song starts, it just like completely 360 goes into something so much harder than you'd imagine, I think. And I love music like that, as I've already mentioned. So just the first time I heard that beat, I was already so excited to start writing to it. And it felt very alive, very passionate. And so I was really inspired by the beat in terms of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
cool.
probably my favorite song on the project.
Yeah. Now that like one of the things that caught my attention with your track with Black Bear was the introduction of it was because I kind of felt like you were describing that introduction on this track, but like the introduction of it was like something I would not have expected. So like where did that come from when you guys kind of worked on that?
He actually sent me the introduction of that song with nothing else. It had none of the like drums that come in later, and I think he had just made that in hopes of either someone else being on it or just getting inspired with an idea to make a song. And he had sent me that as well as a bunch of other like demos, but that one really stood out to me. I love the kind of creepy carny vibes that the piano has, and I instantly heard that like melody, the "You're a dangerous boy, but I love it," and that's I sent him a clip of just that line, and he was like, "I love it. Let's make a song. Like, let's run with it." And I was like, "Oh, okay,
There you go.
cool, yeah." I don't know. I think the intro is really unique, and I instantly heard something in it. Yeah.
So going back to your upcoming EP, tell me who Romy is on this EP compared to Romy back in 2017 when you released Tiempo.
Wow. Back in 2017, I was 16, about to be 17. Tiempo was the first song I ever made in a real studio. Actually, my friends at Freak City LA, who own like this little clothing label, in the back of their like showroom, they have a super colorful studio. It's like all neon and black lights, and you have to like crawl.
Sounds like
up
your
this
vibe
little
right
thing
there.
to hop into the studio. Yeah, it's such a vibe. It's still honestly one of my favorite studios I've ever gotten the chance to record in. And my friend, he made me this beat, and he was like, "I can really hear you on this." Back then I was kind of experimenting with rapping more, and so I think he thought I was gonna rap on it, which I kind of do. But the second I heard that beat and I was just in that studio and they had like dressed me up and I was just feeling myself, they literally left me in the room. They were like, "Okay, write and record yourself. Like, we're just going to leave you alone." That was my first chance to be really confident in creating something. And that's why I think that song came out so cocky and like confident and just badass bitch vibes. But since then, I have become so much more confident in my ability to actually write songs, as I mentioned earlier. Back then, I think that was a luck of the moment kind of situation, but back then I was usually really doubtful of myself, and I was making so many songs that I was too scared to release, or that I was even too scared to show to my friends. And since then, that's completely changed. Romy now is definitely much more confident and much more self-assured that I'm really great at what I do.
Right.
And something I don't even have a doubt in my mind about anymore.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, I know Billie Eilish has been one that was into your music before. How sick would a collaboration like that be like? I feel like it's two completely different worlds, but like together would make some kind of masterpiece. And I also I was thinking of this other girl, Kylie Morg. I don't know if you're familiar with her. You should totally check her out. A song called Medusa. But I think like between the two of them and you, like I think some sick collaborations could happen.
I am a huge fan of Billie. She first saw my song Average, I think, that I did with Cuban Doll a while ago. And she just commented on the like little video clip. She said hard. And I remember like, this was just when she was like really, really starting to bubble. Like, I mean, at the like, right before she like fully took off, I guess I'd say. And of course I'd heard of her. So I was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, I think a lot of the times smaller artists wonder and fantasize about whether like icons are like watching them or they see what they're doing. And to collaborate with her would be incredible. I think she's a phenomenal young woman and artist. And though I think we definitely have a separate sound in terms of our voice, I think we could make something really dark and beautiful.
Make some damage for sure.
Definitely.
Now you mentioned earlier a little bit about your rapping. How did you learn how to do the delivery the way that you do it?
So I used to love rapping, mostly because I think it was something most people didn't think I could do. And I've always loved like pushing boundaries. And at the time when I had first ever been given the chance to record, I was 15. All my friends were making rap music. very like 3-6 Mafia inspired, dark rap music. And I loved music like that. So I think a part of me was just like itching and scratching to just want to try it. And so I think I was definitely inspired by my friends at the time as well as everyone I was listening to. And I think just by paying so much attention, I figured out flow. And I've always been good with like rhythm and melody. And I think like rap flows are hand in hand with often like singing melodies. And so, you know, I just tried. And I kept getting better and better. I think I was less confident in my ability to write rap songs because I had some sort of idea of what a rap song had to be.
Right.
But yeah, I guess the flow kind of came naturally after paying so much attention.
Did Gorillaz have anything to do with that?
I love the Gorillaz, definitely, definitely. Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that. The Gorillaz were some of the like first singing and rap music I've ever heard like blended together.
Yeah. This EP drops October 25th. Any plans for like tours, any performances? Like what's in the works for you?
Well, I'm doing my first free LA show November 1st.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I think it's completely sold out or reserved. But I've been working really hard on getting this show together, and my manager and I worked really hard on making sure this would be something free that I could give back to the fans. And I'm also currently routing a tour.
Nice.
Though I can't really talk about it. It's definitely something you can expect soon.
Okay.
And I do plan to tour with this project.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So Love You to Death drops October 25th. You guys be sure to check out Death by Romy. Thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.